quick reminder, please hit that subscribe button. Story 1. I work at a hotel in Tokyo. American guest called the front desk furious that his phone doesn't work. I asked what the problem was. He said none of his apps are in English. I asked if he changed his language settings. He said, "Why would I? I'm American." I explained that his phone probably auto-detected Japanese networks. He said that's ridiculous and demanded I fix it. I asked if he could bring his phone down. He refused, said I should come to his room. I explained that's not protocol. He said in America, service comes to you. I told him to check his settings under language. He hung up. Called back 20 minutes later saying I was right, but that it's bad design. Sir, you're in Japan. Story 2. I'm a tour guide in Kyoto. American woman asked why everything is so small. I asked what she meant. She gestured around, said the doors, the cars, the portions. I explained that Japanese design prioritizes efficiency. She said, "But I'm a normal size." I said nothing's wrong with her size. Things are just different here. She asked if we have American-sized options. I said some places do. She asked why Japan doesn't accommodate tourists better. I said millions of tourists visit and manage fine. She said, that's because they're not American. She spent the whole tour complaining about doorways, had to duck through one temple entrance and said it's a safety hazard. Ma'am, that building is 400 years old. They weren't expecting you. Story 3. I work at a restaurant in Osaka. American man got angry that our menu has Japanese on it. I said we have English menus. He said, "Why isn't everything in English?" I explained he's in Japan. He said, "Yeah, but you want tourists." I said we do fine. He said in America, everything is in English for foreigners. I didn't argue. He asked what the most American thing on the menu was. I suggested teriyaki chicken. He said that's Japanese. I said yes. He said, "Don't you have burgers?" I said we have a katsu burger. He said that's not a real burger. Asked if we have ranch dressing. I said no. He said, "How do people eat salad?" I said with other dressings. He asked for ketchup for his rice. I brought it. He left a 1-star review saying we're not tourist friendly. Story 4. I work at a train station in Tokyo. American tourist asked me to stop the train so she could get a photo. I said I can't do that. She said, "But I need a picture." I explained trains run on schedule. She said she'd be quick. I said trains don't stop for photos. She got upset. Said in America, customer service matters. I told her to take a photo while riding the train. She said that's not the same. Asked if she could pay extra to stop the train. I said no amount of money stops a public train. She said this is why Japan isn't a real vacation spot. She missed her train arguing with me, then complained that the trains are too frequent and confusing. Story 5. I work at a convenience store in Shibuya. American guy tried to pay with dollars. I said we only take yen. He said, "Can't you convert it?" I said no. He said every place in Mexico takes dollars. I said this is Japan. He asked where he could exchange money. I pointed to a currency exchange down the street. He said that's too far. Asked if I could just guess the exchange rate. I said no. He put the dollars on the counter and walked out with his items. I called after him. He said, "I paid." I had to chase him outside. He gave the items back and said Japan has bad customer service. Sir, you tried to steal. Story 6. I'm a taxi driver in Tokyo. American woman got in and spoke very loud. Slow English at me like I was deaf. I speak English fine. She kept saying things like, "Take me to hotel," while pointing. I said in normal English that I understood. She said, "Oh, thank God," and started talking at normal speed. Then asked why I didn't say I spoke English. I said she didn't ask. She requested I take the fastest route. I did. She said I'm going the wrong way because her phone shows a different route. I explained her phone doesn't account for current traffic. She insisted I follow the phone. I did. We hit massive traffic. She blamed me, left no tip, and said Japanese drivers don't know their own city. Story 7. I work at a temple in Nara. American man got kicked by a deer. The deer roam freely there. Signs everywhere warn not to tease them. This guy was holding food above a deer's head, making it jump. The deer kicked him. He screamed and demanded we call the police. I asked if he was injured. He said his shin hurt. I said the deer are wild animals. He said they should be controlled. I explained this is a sacred temple and the deer are protected. He said, "Protected? They attacked me." I showed him the warning signs. He said signs aren't good enough. Asked if we have insurance. I said for what? He said he's going to sue the temple. Sir, you antagonized a wild animal. He left threatening to call the American embassy. Story 8. I work at a sushi restaurant in Tokyo. American couple ordered everything cooked. No raw fish. I explained that sushi traditionally includes raw fish. The woman said, "We know, but we don't eat raw things." I suggested teriyaki or tempura. She said, "No, we want sushi, just cooked." I offered California rolls. She said those aren't authentic. I said authentic sushi is raw. She said, "Can't you just cook it?" I said that makes it not sushi. Her husband said they paid good money to come to Japan and we're being difficult. I brought them salmon rolls and asked the chef to torch them lightly. They complained it tasted fishy. Yes, it's fish. Story 9. I'm a hotel concierge in Kyoto. American guest asked me to book her a geisha. I asked what for. She said for her room. I explained geishas don't do private room visits for tourists. She said she'd pay extra. I explained it's not about money, it's about tradition and respect. She said, "Aren't they like escorts?" I said, "Absolutely not." She said her friend told her geishas are available for hire. I explained her friend was wrong. She got defensive, said she'd find one herself. I warned her not to disrespect the profession. She said I was being rude. She complained to management that I wouldn't help her. My manager backed me up. Some things aren't for sale. Story 10. I work at a karaoke bar in Osaka. American group came in and got mad that the songs were in Japanese. I said we have English songs too. They said there weren't enough. I showed them the English section. Hundreds of songs. They said they wanted current American hits. I said we have some. They complained we didn't have everything from the Billboard Hot 100. Asked why a Japanese karaoke bar doesn't cater to Americans. I said most customers are Japanese. One guy said, "That's discrimination." I asked how. He said, "Not having American songs is excluding Americans." I said, "We have American songs, just not every single one." They left and reviewed us saying we're anti-American. We're in Japan. Story 11. I work at a ryokan in Hakone. American guest complained that the bed was on the floor. I explained it's a traditional futon. He said he paid for a hotel room. I said, a ryokan is traditional lodging. He said he didn't know that. I showed him the website description that clearly states traditional Japanese experience. He said websites are misleading. Asked for a regular bed. We don't have any. He demanded a refund. I said we have a cancellation policy. He said that doesn't apply because we didn't give him a real bed. I explained he booked a traditional inn. He called me a scammer. Left a review saying we sleep on the floor like animals. Sir, you specifically chose this. Story 12. I work at a bullet train station. American man missed his train and demanded we hold the next one until he was ready. I said trains leave on schedule. He said he needed to use the bathroom and grab food. I said the next train leaves in 12 minutes. He said that's not enough time. I explained trains come every 10 to 20 minutes. He said in America trains wait. I said these don't. He asked to speak to whoever's in charge. I said I am. He asked for my manager. I called her. She said the same thing. He said this is why Japan isn't efficient. Sir, our trains are famous for being on time. That's the entire point. Story 13. I work at a shrine in Tokyo. American woman tried to take rocks from the garden. I stopped her. She said she wanted a souvenir. I explained you can't take things from a sacred site. She said it's just rocks. I said they're arranged deliberately for meditation. She said she'd only take one small one. I said no. She asked why Japan is so strict. I explained it's about respect. She said Americans take rocks from places all the time. I said that doesn't make it right. She argued that if everyone just took one, what's the harm? I said if everyone did, there'd be none left. She said I was being dramatic. Security escorted her out. She yelled that Japan is unwelcoming. Story 14. I'm a chef at a ramen shop. American guy sent back his ramen 3 times. First time, too hot. I let it cool. Second time, not hot enough. I reheated it. Third time, too salty. I explained that's how ramen is seasoned. He said in America they make it however you want. I said this is traditional ramen. He said tradition doesn't matter if the customer isn't happy. I offered a refund. He said he wanted ramen, just made correctly. I asked what correctly meant to him. He described instant noodles with no seasoning. I said, that's not ramen. He said I was being elitist. He ate half and left, reviewed us saying authentic ramen is overrated. Story 15. I work at a capsule hotel. American woman checked in and immediately checked out. She said the room is too small. I explained it's a capsule hotel. She said she didn't realize capsule meant tiny. I showed her the website with dimensions and photos. She said photos are deceiving. I said they're to scale. She demanded a refund. I said we don't refund after check-in. She said this is false advertising. I asked how. She said capsule could mean anything. I said it means capsule. She said in America, hotel rooms are bigger. I said this is Japan, and this is a capsule hotel specifically for space efficiency. She said she'd dispute the charge. She did. Her bank sided with us. Story 16. I work at a department store. American man got upset we don't have his shoe size. He's a size 14. I explained Japanese sizes run smaller. He asked why we don't carry American sizes. I said because we're in Japan. He said we should accommodate all visitors. I said most visitors aren't size 14. He said that's discrimination. I said it's inventory management. He asked if we could order his size. I said it would take weeks. He said that's unacceptable. Asked to speak to corporate. I gave him a number. He called and they told him the same thing. He came back and accused me of lying. Sir, I told you the truth. Story 17. I'm a tour guide at Mount Fuji. American couple showed up in flip-flops. I said they couldn't hike in those. They said they're just walking. I explained it's a mountain. They said they'd be fine. I refused to let them join the group for safety. They said they paid. I said I'd refund them, but they can't hike without proper shoes. They said this is a free country. I said it's Japan, not America, and it's a safety rule. They tried to start the hike alone. Rangers stopped them. They complained to my company. My company backed me. They reviewed us saying Japan has too many rules. Yes, that's how people don't die. Story 18. I work at a tea ceremony house. American woman interrupted the ceremony to take a phone call. Everyone stared. She held up one finger like wait. The tea master paused. The woman talked for 5 minutes. When she hung up, she said, "Sorry, work call." The tea master politely asked guests to silence phones. She said it was important. I explained, tea ceremony is about mindfulness. She said she's mindful, she's just busy. Another guest asked her to leave. She said she paid. I refunded her and asked her to go. She said this is why traditional things are dying. No, ma'am. People like you are why we have rules. Alright, that's it for Americans embarrassing themselves in Japan. If you've travelled to Japan and didn't make an international incident, congratulations. Make sure you're subscribed for more, and I'll see you in the next one.